Yeah. Okay. We're live.
My first question to you is,
Yeah.
how did 12th Man start, and how's the journey been so far?
Uh, so 12th man. So this was like towards the end of my senior year at BU. Uh, Everyone was sort of, getting into these final rounds of job interviews and stuff.
Yeah, yeah,
And I had only gotten rejections and stuff.
yeah.
And I like first semester senior year, I had sort of, started thinking about the possibility of moving back to India and
Mm-hmm.
working on my own thing because for starters, I was living with Arpit. You remember Arpit, right? Bansal. So he was already working on a startup back in the
Yeah.
US.
Mm.
And if you're kind of living with someone whose team's always coming over, they're discussing these things, then you sort
Yeah.
of get into that mode that okay, this is pretty interesting. How can I, you know,
Yeah.
help these guys? You start by looking to help. But I mean, aside from all that, that sort of placed an idea in my mind that I wanted to pursue this thing eventually. And the other
Mm-hmm.
thing was that uh, I've been obsessed with football.
Yeah.
So I didn't really sort of see myself, not doing something that was related to that was
Mm.
not related to football. So senior year, second semester, March, around February or March, I talked to my dad. I was like, you know what, I sort of want to move back and try my own thing, and he was fine with it. He's like,
Mm.
okay, sure. So during that time I started playing on Dream 11. So Dream
Mm-hmm.
11 is this other fantasy gaming app in India. It's the biggest fantasy gaming app in India.
Okay.
And I mean, I've been playing FPL since 10th grade, so
Yeah.
everyone has.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I mean, I looked at Dream 11, and they were focusing more on cricket
Mm.
because cricket is the biggest market in India.
Yeah.
If you become a leader in cricket, then you can start focusing on other sports.
True.
But no one was, really doing anything for football. And
Mm-hmm.
football, as it turns out, is the fastest growing sport in the country. Really fast growth. ISL is doing really well. So I was like, I sort of combined the two ideas, FPL and Dream 11. Uh, Decided that I wanted to pursue this, moved back, started looking for an app development agency because I mean, I know how to code a bit, not too much.
Okay.
So I understand how, sort of the logic works, but I don't exactly know how to make things. So I needed an agency who could sort of execute things properly. So found this company called Inheritex, brilliant people. We started the app development in August last year, and we launched. The soft launch was April 17th this year. And as for the name 12th Man, it just it just felt right, because I'm a fan of the sport, and this fantasy gaming is for the fans to bring them closer to their teams and just to the sport. So we sort of call call 12th Man an app by the fans for the fans. So that's how this
Yeah.
that's how this whole thing happened. Yeah.
Where did your passion for football start? Like your earliest memory, or like what ignited that fire in you that okay, football is gonna be the sport I'm gonna follow?
Uh, mm, well, initially, when I used to so when I properly started following football in fifth grade, that's when I started, playing with my friends in the apartment buildings I used to live in downstairs. And that sort of, everyone was playing football for the first time. So then all of us got attached to it, and then that just escalated from there. But my very first memory about, sort of exploring the sport was when my brother used to play for the school team, and he'd always play with his friends in the evening, and I wanted to sort of include myself with his
Yeah.
friends and everything, but he'd always be like, nah, you're shit, you don't know how to play. Basically he didn't want me to interact with his friends and stuff. So that was the earliest point when I was like, the sport's interesting. I want to play. And then fifth grade, I picked it up. Sixth grade, I started, going for coaching and everything. Seventh, eighth, then sixth grade, got into school team, started taking it, more competitively. Moved to TISB, even better people, like really good footballers. So things just, sort of became really interesting really fast. So that's my earliest memory of football.
That's nice. So with regards to 12th Man, like, wasn't it a big risk, like coming back to India from the US, and then your original plan must have been like going to your dad's business maybe, or working in India for a company or something. So starting something on your own must have been like a massive risk.
I mean, so if I'd started something else, let's say fintech's also been booming in India. So if I'd come back thinking that, this industry is doing well, I want to start my business in this industry, then there's a high chance I would have, sort of struggled. That would have been a big risk. But because I didn't understand that industry really well. But football, I I don't know, I sort of never felt that this was a risk because I mean, I wasn't on my own exactly because when I moved back to India, I don't have to worry about a place to stay. I don't have to worry about saving money. Even though, I mean, I'm not saying that I throw money around, but I don't. You get the idea, right? I don't have to be like, oh, I can't do this right now because I have to keep a track of my money. And the other thing is, I mean, my dad has a big network in India, so I got to take advantage of that
For sure.
to sort of meet people, get their feedbacks on my idea and things like that. So I mean, it sort of negated the risks. If anything, it didn't increase the risks. The risks would have been higher if I tried to pursue this back in the US, where the laws are stricter. I don't know anyone. It'll be much more expensive to hire anyone or get anything done, and that just makes things so much more stressful. So you can't really enjoy what you're doing. Even if it's football, I don't think I might have enjoyed starting this back in the US.
Yeah.
I mean, that's how I look at it.
Yeah. Yeah. Um, so it must be great, like working on something that you're passionate about, right? Because you've combined work and passion into like the same thing, which is like the dream for people.
100%.
Yeah.
I
So, mm,
never like. I mean, initially, I sort of started. When we launched the app, it was kind of stressful because when you work so hard on something, you can't take criticism uh, about your product because you're really attached to it. You've been developing this thing, but then I sort of separated myself from that because I wanted the app to grow, even though I've worked on it for a long time. So initially, it was really difficult. Like even if I was passionate about it, I sort of started getting really stressed about things and everything. But then, uh, just I wouldn't call it overnight, but I think it just happened after I started practicing this for like a month or so that, okay, people are going to criticize it. But I, because every morning, like when I used to wake up after the launch, I was still, excited to make this app better. I wanted to add more features, more ways where users can, enjoy picking teams and everything. Because I mean, ultimately, I understand the sport. I understand, how competitive things get. So it's always been fun working on it. It's like you said, it's never been, uh, that you get bored doing something around football because this is something you think about every day. So
yeah.
it's never been sort of a stressful job after uh, only during April when I thought this was stressful, but not after that.
But then, because it's your hobby and your work, like, is it difficult to shut off? Like, or are you like working on it like 24/7 and on weekends?
Yeah, I work on weekends.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just today that I stayed home for the call because for the past 5 even Sundays I've been going to the office for the
Okay.
recordings and everything. But I mean, again, you like you said, it it's not work anymore, right? It's just this passion project sort of thing that you're working on. And again, the thing that makes it more interesting is I don't know for how long, this is gonna go on. So you want to give your best every day just to make sure that if this ends, you don't feel like, I could have done better on this day, or I should have put in more hours or anything. And it's not even about the hours because, uh, I mean, yeah, you need like people from the outside get this. They look at entrepreneurs and they get these ideas, right? That you have to put in 15-hour days, 18-hour days, and everything. But I don't think that's necessary. You do the work you're supposed to. If you need to do something else, great, do that. But I don't think those 15 to 18-hour days are necessary. Otherwise, then you start burning out. So I mean, sure, I work every day, but I don't work like 18 to 20 hours every day.
Yeah,
I
that's
can't
true.
work 18 to 20 hours every
Yeah.
day.
So for the short amount of time you've been working on 12th Man,
Yeah.
what's been your lowest and your highest points in this whole experience so far?
Lowest point, definitely first week of launch. So the funny thing, okay, you might not know this. So fantasy gaming is banned by the Play Store. So
Okay.
Google India doesn't allow fantasy gaming apps to be on the Play Store, but App Store, iOS, Apple allows it. So what people have to do in India is they have to go to the website, they have to download the APK file of the app and then install it. So of course it looks really, sort of scammy.
Yeah.
Why am I downloading this random file?
Mhm.
What will happen if I install it and stuff? So first week of launch, I got so many DMs on the 12th man DM and my personal DMs where people were just, straight up abusing me. Some of them said that they'll report me to whatever Mumbai police, this police, that
Really?
police. Yeah. Uh, really, 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 like bad insults and everything. But then insults aren't that bad. It's just that, people like it's hard to convince people that you're doing a good thing because people always come in with this idea that their businesses are trying to sort of rip them off or take advantage of them. So I remember this one particular email. This It was like two big paragraphs where someone just went on about how I should regret being born and everything. And
That's
for what?
mad.
All he had to do was download the app, and he's like, you
And
know what?
downloading the app is free, right?
Huh?
Downloading the app is free.
Yeah, it's free.
So I don't get the problem.
No, because you have to download a file from a random website of an app that's
Yeah.
just starting off, and it involves money. So I get where people are coming from, but
Yeah.
yeah. So the first week was the hardest, but then I sort of
How do you do
tuned
that?
it out.
How do you do that though? Because like you aren't experienced in like dealing with like trolls or like hate messages and stuff like that. So
So one mistake that I rectified almost immediately was on the website. If you scroll down towards the contact us section, I put up my personal mobile number.
yeah.
So immediately I got a virtual phone number and I put
Yeah.
that up so I can at least sort of filter the calls out. I
Mm.
uh, I made the info email of the company available on the website so people could send emails and I could manage the sort of complaints more effectively. Otherwise, it was just call after call, and people are like, hey,
Yeah.
what are you doing? Are you trying to rip me off? This is a virus, things like that.
Oh
Big
God,
mistake.
I
I
would
mean,
never
you
expect.
don't, sorry,
I would never expect this to happen.
even I didn't. Like when I started off, this was one of my biggest like reality checks. Mm, The way what I thought was going to happen is the app's going to go live. I'm going to put it on the Play Store. I'm going to advertise it a bit, and then it's all cruise control after that.
Yeah.
There are issues literally, every 2 3 days that you don't think of because you rely too much. The app relies on a lot of third parties as well, right? You get data from one company, y- payments are managed by other company, and things like that. So if one of their servers go down and someone tries to withdraw money and the transaction doesn't come through, then automatically that person's going to reach out to you. They're going to be like, why are you stealing money? Things like that. So
Yeah.
people go from 0 to 100 real quick. They either you're a brilliant app or you're a thief who's trying to steal money off of them.
Yeah. And your highest point so far?
Highest point, definitely the Sunil Chhetri launch,
So
23rd May.
tell me more about that.
So uh, more about that as in the how the entire launch
The whole
sort of took.
experience with like getting in touch with Sunil Chhetri, how do you get him to be like your brand ambassador and just the whole launch in general?
So funny thing, I initially, like, I had this vague idea that I'd like a brand ambassador, and I had thought of like just sparingly about trying to get Chetri on board, but then that idea sort of disappeared. Then one day when I was doing a milestone review meeting with the developing team, we were looking at this competitor app called 11 Wickets, and they have like Sunny Leon as their brand ambassador for whatever reason. For whatever reason, I don't know.
Yeah.
And these guys asked me, "Are you planning on getting someone who's related to sports and not someone like her?" So I was like, "Yeah, I'm planning on getting Sunil Chhetri." So I go to Twitter, I go to Chhetri's profile. I see the business inquiries at this email. I write an email, and they got back to me in like 2 hours. They're like, "Hey, sure, let's get on a call." And fortunately for me, I got on a call with them, and about a week after that, Dream 11 and all those guys apparently inquired about Chetri as well. But they told those guys that they're already negotiating with me. So this was, I think, early October last year. Then November. So the agency that manages him is run by Chetri's sister and her husband. So Chetri's sister and her husband flew down to Ahmedabad for a meeting, and we decided that we'd sign the contract in December. December, I flew to Bangalore, met Chetri. I, I mean, he's such a fun guy to sort of hang out with. Like initially, I started I started shivering and shit when he sat down next to me. I'm like,
Imagine.
who was Sunil Chhetri? But I mean, it was really fun, man. He talks to you like a friend, and since the only thing you talk about is football, you just sort of fit in. He he tells you things you never imagined happened in Indian football, so that gives you hope that India is actually moving in the right direction. And it's just those 2 hours were surreal. I thought that now whenever we do the photo shoot, I might not get to meet him properly, but then I got to spend like 8 hours with him during the photo shoot, where we were just sitting talking about life, about football, about everything. And he, just to make sure that everything we wanted to shoot got completed, that guy skipped lunch. He didn't throw
Really?
any, yeah, he doesn't care about makeups, no tantrums or anything. He just comes, gets the job done. Like, really good professional, but really fun guy to talk to as well.
That's damn cool, man.
I mean, it, I mean, extremely grateful for that opportunity. It's so much fun. And
And
I
yeah,
mean, if you're in Bangalore next time we do a shoot there, then I'll definitely let you know.
well,
You
for
can
sure,
come
that'd
along.
be amazing.
So yeah, for sure, man. I mean, why not? And so for the promo video shoot and everything, we rented out Kantirva,
Hmm.
and that's where, if I don't know if you've seen the trailers on the 12th Man page and everything, but that the trailers were shot there.
So since you've been involved in like from photo shoots to marketing to like developing the app, you've pretty much got your hands in like every bit of the process,
Yeah,
which is like pretty overwhelming for like someone your age, right? Like doing so much.
it is, but I mean, for marketing, I I made a mistake by hiring the wrong agency early on, fired them quickly, and then I hired this agency called White Rivers Media from Mumbai. So they really, made sure that the shoot went really smoothly because they've been working with celebrities and everything for the longest time. So they know how these photo shoots and everything work. So that made my life easier. But yeah, I mean, I've got to understand what all actually goes into advertising and what all actually goes in, app development. Like even app development early on, I wrote down the features I wanted for the app, and I handed it to them. I'm like, now you guys can make me the app, and they're like, no, that it doesn't work that way. They gave me wireframes, and then you start thinking about where each button would be, what the next page would be if I click on this button and everything. So yeah, that's a boring process, but it's you learn a lot in that.
Yeah. Um, so with the app itself, like just on a personal basis, like is it working as you expected, better than expected, or below expectations? And what's your plans for the future?
So when we started, right, April, I didn't expect traffic because we hadn't announced Chhetri yet. So like we launched and then nothing happens for like 2 days, even though we had been marketing for the past 2 weeks that the app's coming out, this that, and we had been building the brand since November 2019. And then third day the first transaction comes in, I think it was 8 rupees, and then I just started feeling so happy. I'm like, wow, 8 rupees. And that transaction came in, and then this whole getting insults and all those things happened. And then the app just sort of didn't get any downloads for the rest of April, and then it got a few downloads here and there until the launch of Chhetri. And when we announced Chhetri, I was so sure that we are gonna reach 10,000 downloads overnight. Nothing happens. 100, 200 downloads. I'm like, wow, was that a waste? But then these things actually take a lot of time to pick up because like even if you have the biggest brand ambassador, if you watch let's say a commercial with Messi in it, it's not like you're gonna buy whatever he's an ambassador of right away.
Yeah, exactly.
You'll see it a bunch of times. You'll get curious about it. You look it up, and then you buy it. So we started getting really good downloads June second week, and ever since that point, it's just gone up. Right now, I think we are close to 350,000 downloads.
Oh wow.
Yeah, and around, I mean, downloads is just one number that you get to see on the
Yeah.
Play Store. What actually matters is how many users and everything play. But our net installs are also really good. We're at 150,000 net installs. So that's really good for the early stages. Of course, we want to, reduce the uninstall rate. So like you start off at the top of the funnel, you're like, okay, initially you want to get people to just install the app. Then you want people to register. Then you want people to participate. Then you want people to participate in paid contests. So right now we are focusing on the registration and paid contest participation bit. So yeah.
Yeah. And what plans for the future with the app and in general?
So I mean, I briefly mentioned on the chat, right? So we are waiting to get to sort of 500,000 downloads, and I think around end September, October, I'll start looking for funding.
Mm.
And hopefully, if we get funding, then the plan is to move to UK, because I can't go global staying in India because of uh, uh, like the FEMA guidelines and everything. Basically, money from different currencies can't come in and stuff.
Okay.
So I'll have to move to UK because the gaming laws are significantly better over there and there are no restrictions. So if I move to UK, then I can go global. So that's the plan.
Yeah.
So
Hopefully that works.
hopefully end of next year or early 2022, I should be able to move to UK.
Hopefully. It'd be good to have you here, man. And I
Yeah,
can help
for sure.
you out.
Yeah, man, that'll be great.
Um, yeah, one last question. So who do you look up to for advice, and who do you get advice from when handling all these things?
So, I mean, my dad's been helping me out a lot, of course, because so basically, I mean, of course, it's his money through which I've been able to build the app, right? And he's mentored a lot of businesses over the course of his career. So he's been helping me out a lot, but it's not like he's sort of spoon feeding me.
Yeah.
So he'll give me some advice from time to time, but most of it is up to me. So I go to him for advice. Then, I mean, this is weird, but I don't know if you've heard of Gary Vaynerchuk. Yeah, yeah. So, I mean, his content really helped me out a lot during, I think, the low points in my life. So I sort of just, get ideas from the way he conducts his business. So the way he treats his employees, how to manage employees and stuff. And yeah, that's pretty much it. The person I speak to most would be my dad, but apart from that, a few of his associates.
Yeah. Fair. So all the questions I have. Um,
This was the
so
first time, giving my interview. I'm used to taking interviews of
yeah, yeah, yeah.
others.
No, man, you can learn so much from like speaking to someone like you, because like, well, you're 23, right? 22, 23,
23.
and like, yeah, and you like launched an app with like 350K downloads. That's crazy, man. Like, definitely, like, hats off to you.
Thanks, Dippy.
Yeah, I mean, it probably doesn't seem like it to you because like you're doing it every day,
No, so
but
I mean, these are good numbers, but I mean, ultimately, what matters is the bottom line, right? And
yeah,
making sure that you have a really strong customer base. And the ultimate goal, of course, is to create a good, sort of footballing community in India. So that's why I started the 12th Man show, and we are working on our e-commerce brand as well. So those things are coming up. The longer term goal is also to start something like I don't know if you've heard of Y Scout.
yeah.
So it's a scouting platform to scout football players. So
Okay,
India, it's a really fragmented market. The
very.
scouting, the scouting network isn't there is no scouting network.
Yeah.
So to have a scouting network in India would be great. So working on something like that would be, really fun.
My dad actually runs a football school in Bangalore,
Wow,
Boca
which one?
Juniors.
Oh, he runs it.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, so I mean, I see the issues as well in Indian football through him,
Yeah,
and the whole scouting, lack of scouting network, and just how the framework is.
it's
But
really messed up. I mean, I'm sure by a lot, I mean like at least 80% of the people who start playing football don't get noticed,
exactly,
because to get noticed, you either have to play at a good regional tournament, you have to play Santosh Trophy and everything, and not everyone gets to go there.
yeah,
So, just having a really good scouting network would go a long way in helping India. But, with the way ISL and everything is coming up, uh, I definitely believe that 2030s India can be in the World Cup.
hopefully,
Yeah, for sure. It'll be so much fun.
yeah. It'd be sick to like actually support like your own country.
Yeah. I mean, for
Yeah,
once, it won't be like, yeah, I'm supporting Germany for this World Cup.
exactly. Yeah, yeah.
And I mean, I talked to Pandita recently. I don't know if you follow or so. I mean, just getting his perspective on Indian football also sort of shows you that Indian football is growing because the people he plays with in Spain, they look for opportunities to play in India because Indian football
Oh,
pays well. The Indian Super League and all those leagues, they pay well. So
so they rather move from Spain to India.
yeah, so Spanish football is because football in Spain is so competitive, right?
Yeah.
Everyone wants to play for the big three clubs, Barca, Madrid, or Atletico.
Mm.
And what football is in Spain is like what cricket is in India, right? It's so
Yeah.
competitive. So people prefer to leave and going to, like, let's say Greece or something. They won't get paid as much as they would in ISL, where foreign talent is, appreciated so much.
That's true.
So yeah, that just it'll happen, but again, we need a good structure.
Yeah. I think one thing the structure as well, like the I League has like under 15, under 13 tournaments.
Yeah,
And there I've seen people fudge like dates. So like someone who's like 18 is playing under
yeah,
13 game.
age fraud.
Yeah, it's
That's a big
just such
issue.
a big issue.
Yeah,
Yeah. I mean, they've
and
tried to like
yeah,
do
yeah,
things to improve it.
they've been working on like these bone tests and everything.
Yeah,
But
yeah,
again,
yeah,
bone test is like the result is either +1, -1. So that's a huge range for the cutoff, like 2 years.
exactly.
So yeah, I mean, that's an issue, but before you fix that issue, you need a sort of a pipeline for the players to go through.
Yeah. Yeah.
So yeah.
No, hopefully.